The rain hammered against the windows of our small cottage in the Cotswolds, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. For 20 years our lives, Espen and mine, had been a tapestry woven with shared dreams, quiet evenings by the fire, and the comfortable rhythm of a life well lived. I was an IT specialist, content in my work, finding solace in the intricate logic of code. Espen, a talented graphic designer, brought color and creativity into our world. Or so I thought. It started subtly. A coolness crept into our conversations, a distance that hadn't been there before. Espen, always meticulous about his appearance, began taking an almost obsessive interest in his wardrobe. New clothes appeared, expensive cologne replaced his usual aftershave. He started going to the gym before work, something he hadn't done in years. I chalked it up to a midlife crisis, a fleeting desire to recapture youth. I even teased him about it, which he waved off with an unconvincing laugh. The late nights at the office became more frequent. Espen worked for a small design firm in Stow-on-the-Wold, a charming village a short drive from our home. He'd always worked hard, but these were different. He'd come home exhausted, distant, his eyes glazed over with a strange kind of energy. When I asked about his work, he'd become evasive, offering vague explanations about demanding clients and tight deadlines. The first real red flag was the phone. Espen had always been open with his phone, leaving it lying around, never password protected. Now it was always glued to his hand, screen down, silent. He'd jump if I even glanced at it. One evening while he was in the shower, I saw it light up with a message. The name Ingmar flashed across the screen, followed by a string of heart emojis. Ingmar. Who was Ingmar? My heart pounded in my chest. I knew deep down that something was terribly wrong. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was a new client, a friendly colleague. But the heart's the secrecy, it didn't add up. I decided to confront him, but when he came out of the shower, wrapped in a towel, I lost my nerve. He looked tired, vulnerable. I couldn't bring myself to accuse him of something I wasn't even sure was true. Instead, I started snooping. I know it was wrong, a violation of his privacy, but I couldn't help myself. When he was asleep, I carefully took his phone and unlocked it with his fingerprint. My hands trembled as I scrolled through his messages with Ingmar. My stomach churned with each passing line. I can't wait to see you on Thursday, Ingmar wrote. I'm counting down the minutes, me too, Espen replied. I miss you so much. This week has been torture without you. There were photos too. Photos of Espen and Ingmar laughing, holding hands, kissing. My world tilted on its axis. The man I had shared my life with, the man I thought I knew, was a stranger. He was having an affair, a passionate, all-consuming affair with another man. The next few days were a blur of disbelief, anger, and crushing sadness. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. I replayed our entire relationship in my head, searching for clues I had missed, moments where I should have seen this coming. But there were none. Espen had always been so loving, so attentive. How could he have been living a lie for so long? I decided to confront him on Thursday, the day he was supposed to meet Ingmar. I took the day off work, telling him I had a doctor's appointment. He seemed relieved, almost too relieved. I spent the morning pacing the house, rehearsing what I would say, trying to control the torrent of emotions that threatened to overwhelm me. In the afternoon, I drove to Stow-on-the-Wold and parked near the design firm. I watched as Espen left the office, looking around nervously before heading down the street. I followed him, keeping my distance, my heart pounding in my chest. He walked to a small cafe on the outskirts of the village. I saw Ingmar waiting for him, sitting at a table by the window. Ingmar was younger than Espen, with a mop of dark hair and piercing blue eyes. He looked like a male model, impossibly handsome. I watched as Espen approached the table, his face lighting up with a smile I hadn't seen in months. They embraced, a long, lingering hug, before sitting down, their hands intertwined on the table. I couldn't bear to watch any longer. I walked into the cafe, my face burning with rage. Espen, I said, my voice trembling. We need to talk. He turned around, his face draining of color. Klaus, what are you doing here? I know, I said, my voice rising. I know about you and Ingmar. I've seen the messages, the photos. How could you do this to me? Ingmar looked from Espen to me, his eyes wide with surprise. Who is this? He asked. This is my husband, Espen said, his voice barely a whisper. Your husband? Ingmar repeated, his face hardening. You didn't tell me you were married. I was going to, Espen stammered. I didn't know how. You lied to me, Ingmar said, his voice cold. You used me. He stood up and walked out of the cafe, leaving Espen and me alone. Espen turned to me, his eyes filled with tears. Klaus, I'm so sorry, he said. I never meant to hurt you. I love you. You love me. I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. If you loved me, you wouldn't have betrayed me. You wouldn't have lied to me for months. You wouldn't have broken my heart. I know, he said, his voice cracking. I've been so stupid, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't think you were thinking at all, I said. You were just being selfish. You were chasing some fantasy, some illusion of happiness without any regard for the consequences. Please, Klaus, he begged. Give me another chance. I'll do anything to make it up to you. I looked at him, really looked at him, and I saw not the man I had loved for 20 years, but a stranger, a liar, a cheat. The love I had felt for him died in that moment, replaced by a cold, hard emptiness. It's too late, Espen, I said. It's over. I want a divorce. He sank into his chair, his face buried in his hands. Don't do this, Klaus, he sobbed. Please don't leave me. I turned and walked out of the cafe, leaving him alone with his regret. I drove back to our cottage, packed my bags, and left. I didn't look back. The divorce was messy, acrimonious. Espen fought it every step of the way, begging me to reconsider, promising to change, but my mind was made up. I couldn't forgive him, I couldn't trust him. Our relationship was irrevocably broken. After the divorce was finalized, I moved to London seeking a fresh start. I found a new job, a small flat in Notting Hill, and started to rebuild my life. It wasn't easy. The pain of betrayal lingered for a long time, a constant ache in my heart. But I was determined to move on, to find happiness again. One evening, a few months after the divorce, I received a message from a mutual friend. Have you heard about Espen? She wrote. No, I replied. What's happened? He's been fired from his job, she wrote. Apparently, Ingmar's wife found out about the affair and told Espen's boss. He was furious. He fired Espen on the spot. I felt a pang of satisfaction, a small measure of justice. Espen had lost everything: his husband, his lover, his job. He had paid the price for his betrayal, but my satisfaction was short-lived. A few days later, I received another message from our friend. Espen's been diagnosed with cancer, she wrote. It's serious. My heart sank. Despite everything, I couldn't help but feel sorry for him. He was alone, sick, and without any support. I knew I should reach out to him, offer him some comfort, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. The pain was still too raw, the betrayal too deep. I never saw Espen again. He died a few months later, alone and estranged from everyone he had loved. I heard about his death from our mutual friend. She told me that he had asked for me on his deathbed, that he had wanted to apologize one last time. I often wonder if I should have gone to see him, if I should have forgiven him. Maybe it would have brought him some peace, some closure, but I couldn't do it. The pain was too great, the wound too deep. I chose to protect myself, to preserve the fragile peace I had finally found. Years have passed since then. I've built a good life for myself in London. I have a fulfilling career, a supportive circle of friends, and a comfortable home. But there's always a part of me that will remember Espen, the man I loved and lost, the man who betrayed me in the most profound way imaginable. And I'll always wonder if I made the right decision, if I should have forgiven him before it was too late. The rain has stopped now. The clouds have parted, revealing a sliver of moon. The world outside is quiet, peaceful, but inside me the storm still rages on, a constant reminder of the love that turned to ashes, the betrayal that shattered my world. This is my story, a story of love, loss, and betrayal. A story of how one man's selfish actions can destroy a lifetime of happiness. And a reminder that sometimes forgiveness is not always possible, even when it's the only thing that can bring peace. Thank you for listening. I hope my story will stay with you for a long time and help you to avoid making the same terrible mistakes in your life, and maybe help you to see the red flags early.